So, like many thousands of other parents across this province, this week I had the opportunity to take my daughters to school. My older daughter off to university and my younger daughter starting high school. So many families across Ontario that had that chance, a joyous occasion, an exciting and happy occasion. But for one family here in our city, in the city of Vaughan, that happy and joyous occasion didn't happen. And as you know by now, it didn't happen because just a couple of days ago in Kleinburg, an incredibly beautiful part of our city, a man, a God-fearing man of faith, who was a father and a husband and a brother and an entrepreneur and someone who loved his neighborhood, certainly loved his family, was brutally murdered by three incredibly thoughtless criminals in a home invasion. This is news that has been heartbreaking for every single one of us in the city of Vaughan and beyond since we first learned of it. It's news that obviously has shattered a family. It's news that has really and truly shaken a community. Now, I'm very fond of talking about my city, having lived here now for close to 40 years and proudly serving as mayor of the city of Vaughan. I talk about Vaughan often as a community that has always been safe, and I believe fundamentally because we are a community in which many thousands of hardworking, devoted, faithful families live, that we are a safe community. But when we see things like this, Aleem's murder, when we hear the information that has been out there, and I know earlier today Chief McSween and the team at YRP spoke about this incident and some of the others that have transpired in York Region over the last number of days. Again, there's a strong sense that something has gone wrong. Now, I have repeatedly, alongside my council colleagues, called out the other levels of government over the last number of months on issues that range from auto theft to home break-ins, to business break-ins, to home invasions, to carjackings. Despite our best efforts at the local level, despite what I would call unprecedented investments in supporting and expanding YRP so they can hire more frontline officers so we can open 2 York Region Police substations here in the city of Vaughan, including one in partnership with our municipality that was opened in Kleinburg many months ago. Increased patrols, increased presence, increased funding. Despite all of that, we still have to contend with what we saw just a couple of nights ago that happened unfairly and tragically to Aleem and his family. This is not the way it's supposed to be. Beyond the investments that we are trying our best to make at the local level, there is something more fundamental that is broken in our system right now. I understand from media reports that Prime Minister Carney and his cabinet are in fact in the GTA as we speak, having cabinet discussions about all of the important priorities that the federal government has in front of them. And I understand it. There's lots for them to tackle, dealing with President Trump, dealing with tariffs, dealing with so much more. I don't know what's on their agenda, but I have to say, if this topic, fixing the criminal justice system once and for all so that victims rather than criminals are protected, so that we don't have, as it's being called, the revolving door of criminals who are arrested and then back out on bail, sometimes the same day, to offend repeatedly, again, whether that's vehicle break-ins or home break-ins or carjackings or whatever it is. If this issue, this item is not on their agenda, well, then they've badly lost the plot. I hope it is. And I hope sincerely that today we will hear something definitive from the federal government, definitive that they are committed, that the Prime Minister himself is committed to working with Premier Ford, with the mayors and municipal councils here across the GTA and beyond, where these incidents sadly continue to happen, to make sure that what should not have ever occurred to Aleem and his family and his community to make sure that it doesn't happen again. I need to say this once again. It's so important, it bears repeating. We've invested millions of dollars more. York Region Council approved a York Region Police budget last year that was substantially more than ever before, to my knowledge. A massive increase, 150 plus new staff last year, and I believe about the same number that's projected for this year. Hundreds of new staff, hundreds of new frontline officers. And yet the system still fails the people who live here. The other night, alongside Aleem's family and the broader community, we participated in a vigil. And to stand in that very typical, very beautiful suburban neighborhood where this tragedy occurred, where this murder occurred, to stand there and to see the looks of genuine, palpable fear and anxiety in the faces of people who play by the rules, our residents, who play by the rules, work hard, raise their families, have strong values, pay their taxes, do everything right, who then turn to me as mayor, to members of our council, to members of YRP. And by the way, let me say, York Regional Police do a phenomenal job, led by Chief McSween, to keep our residents safe. But even they are fighting a losing battle when the system is as broken as it is today. But when our residents look at me as mayor and say, what are you doing to fix this? What are you doing to keep us safe? It is one of the strongest feelings of powerlessness that I have. And I suspect this is true for many, many mayors. When the system is something, again, that isn't working properly, it's not working for the people, it's not working for the victims and their families, and yet we don't have a partner at the table who's stepping up. I know there's been a lot of talk, and I know at every level of government there will always be a reason to not do something. But this tragedy should never have occurred to the Farooqi family. It should never have occurred in the city of Vaughan. It should never have occurred in Kleinburg. It shouldn't happen in any municipality. An upstanding citizen, someone who loved his family, someone who was a man of faith, someone who was beloved in his community and his neighborhood. Again, a father, a husband, a brother, a son. Simply doing what every single one of us instinctively would want to do, to keep our home safe, to keep our family, our kids safe, to keep our spouse safe. And he lost his life. This should not have happened. And I am so tired of the BS and so tired of the talking points and so absolutely exhausted and fatigued and tired of levels of government pointing fingers at each other. Enough is enough. The system needs to be fixed. It needs to be fixed starting today. And a clear message needs to be delivered. If you're out there and you're even thinking about getting involved in some kind of crime or criminal activity, and you're caught, as you should be, and as I hope these three animals are caught, and I hope justice is swift, and I hope it's harsh when they're caught. But if you're going to go down this path here in the province of Ontario and the country of Canada, when you're caught, when you're convicted, the punishment will be strong enough so that a clear message is sent that it's not worth your while. When the system makes it seem like there's no consequence and there's no repercussion, this is where we end up. That's what has to end. I do not want to have to convene another press conference like this, and I know no other mayor across this region does either, where somebody, some incredible person like Aleem lost their life because of government inaction. So, again, we need this system fixed. We need it fixed now. I call on Prime Minister Carney and the federal government, work with Premier Ford, work with the mayors, work with the community. Let's get this done, and let's get it done right away. Now I'll turn things over to Naeem.
Good morning. My name is Naeem Farooqi. I'm the brother of Aleem Farooqi. I just want to say that my brother died the way he lived. He was a hero. He was a family man. He loved his children immensely. He was so excited about having his son come back into baseball, and he made the team, a AAA team in his community, and you know, his daughters. He had such high aspirations for them. He wanted them to attend Schulich School of Business where I went. He really loved York University, going there, and wanted his children, his daughter especially, talked about it to me many times to help her to get into Schulich. He wanted his children to go there. He's a very honest, God-fearing man who absolutely loved his community, did anything for anyone who ever asked him or knew him in terms of helping. Like, whenever I needed something, he would always come to my house and help me, always willing to do anything for anyone. You know, it's a very tragic loss. I'm really thankful to the mayor, to the premier, to Minister Lecce that they've reached out, that they actually care about Canadians. I'm lost for words for who controls this, who's in charge, and what's being done. And our family just wants to preserve our brother's legacy, and we want to make sure that this doesn't happen to any other family. Enough is enough. I think we need to come together. This isn't the Canada we all know. My brother loved hockey, baseball. We watched a Blue Jays game earlier this week. We had dinner at my house the night before this tragic day. And, you know, it's every Canadian story, right? Spending time with your loved ones, and then they're just snatched away in a moment, and forever your life is changed. So, you know, I'm just hoping that action is taken, and then not just for the justice for Aleem and our family, but there are no other families. We don't want another Aleem for anyone. I don't think any parent wants to have this, you know. Like the mayor said, he took his kids to university, school started. I saw a school bus pull up yesterday in front of their house, and I thought, is my niece and nephew supposed to be on that school bus? They're devastated. They're worried. And, you know, it's a very tragic event, and I just want the message that my brother was a very good man, a hero, who died defending his family. That's a man. That's a person who actually believes in family comes first, and he did whatever he could. And, you know, 3 cowards came in and changed everything for our family that night. And I urge that everyone reflect on that. And, you know, as Canadians, we understand that we need some change. We need ourselves to feel safe going at home. When we lock our door, it's our choice when we open it the next morning. It's not someone else's.
Thank you very much, Naeem. We'd be happy to take any questions.
Question about, it's hard to disagree with many of the things that's being said about public safety. When it comes to referring to the criminal justice system as a revolving door, aren't we getting a little bit ahead of ourselves? We have yet to catch these perpetrators and know what, or if any criminal record they have. We can understand that by the brazenness of this crime, people can certainly deduce certain things, but we just don't know who these people are at this time.
Yeah.
What do you say to that?
Yeah, so it's true. We don't know who these 3 criminals are. Let me repeat what I said earlier. I am sincerely hopeful that they are caught quickly. I know YRP is working really hard to make that happen. And when they're caught and hopefully convicted, I hope they are dealt with harshly. I would say in the now nearly 3 years since I've been elected as mayor, or when I was elected as mayor, that we are in regular receipt of messages and updates from York Regional Police about criminal activity and suspects who are captured in our city for a wide range, or because of a wide range of criminal activity. And almost without fail, every single time in now nearly 3 years that I've received an email from YRP letting me know someone's being caught, almost without fail, it mentions that individual who was caught is out on bail, or out because of some, what they call, I believe, court conditions. So it is true, these 3 specific animals, let's be clear about this, scumbags who have killed this incredibly important person and shattered this family. We don't know who these 3 are, but based on everything I've seen, there is a decent chance, perhaps more than a decent chance, that these are people who have a track record in criminal activity, and I will not at all be surprised if we learn that there is some kind of bail circumstance. Again, I want to stress, almost without fail, and I'm sure YRP would back me up on this, almost without fail, people these days who are getting caught are people who are out on bail. And that's, listen, I have deep respect for our criminal justice system. I want to be clear about that. But there does come a point at which you have to realize the facts that are in front of your face. And when this kind of thing is happening, and it continues to happen, and levels of government move so slowly and so methodically, and despite all of the circumstances and tragic things they see and hear, they are, I don't know what it is, listening to the bureaucrats, listening to the experts. They need to stop listening to those people and talk to real people. Talk to Naeem. Talk to Aleem's neighbors. Talk to mayors. Talk to members of council who are living this reality daily. And then come into a community like Vaughan where people are hardworking and they play by the rules and they're entrepreneurial and they're generous, and look in the eyes of my residents who come to me and come to my colleagues on council scared, regularly scared because of what they're seeing, what they're hearing, what they're experiencing. This isn't right. So, I just want to say I don't know about the 3 individuals in question, but I have a pretty strong sense, and I would not at all be surprised based on what we've seen.
Do you have specific? Sorry,
Just one sec, Sean. Just take one more follow-up.
Yeah, sorry. Do you have specific changes you would like to see? Because, I mean, forgive me.
Yeah, it's okay.
There are laws on the books.
There are.
For aggravated assault, break and enter, and there's strict penalties for that. What would you like to see?
Well, I know that I believe it was in October of 2024, I know that the government of Ontario did send a series of recommendations to the federal government. I mean, I am not personally an expert in this area, but I think what I'm hearing from my residents, what I'm hearing from members of the provincial government, I mean, I have the list here in front of me. I don't want to go through it now, but if you're going to be involved as a repeat offender, in particular in a violent crime, especially a violent crime involving a gun, for example, I mean, really? Should you get a legitimate shot at bail at that point in time? Like, there comes a point at which we have to say, enough is enough. There's a whole bunch of other recommendations that were contained in that list that were sent from the province to the feds. And look, I have a lot of friends in the federal government, and having served in government at 2 levels now, I can no doubt understand what happens is the politicians at the federal level, whether it's current ministers, a current prime minister, previous ministers, previous prime ministers, they have all these ideas, and they go and talk to the so-called experts, and the so-called experts tell them all, because I know, I've lived this life, they tell them all the reasons why things can't happen. But elected leaders are elected to lead. We're not elected to follow. And sometimes, despite the best advice, we actually have to earn and keep the trust of the people that we are elected to represent. And so when the people are telling us they need action, they need real results, to turn around and say, sorry, we can't help you, because the experts who don't live in Kleinburg necessarily, who aren't members of Aleem's family, the so-called experts tell us we can't do that. I think that's wrong. I think that's wrong, and we need leaders to step up and say, if nothing else, we're going to try, and we're going to do something more aggressive and something stronger, because we have to send that message. And I haven't seen that happen, in particular from the federal government. That's what we need. Sean?
Thank you. Thank you. Up next, we have Masa Mortazavi
We'll get to you,
from
Sean.
Iran International TV. Please
Sean,
go
we'll get to
ahead.
you. Yeah.
Okay. Hi, thank you for taking my question. I understand that when we see crime happening in the heart of the city, it is more usual. When it comes to the suburb area, it alarms people that the crime rate is, increasing within the society. I have heard you and Aleem's brother repeat enough is enough. This is a message coming from the Conservatives as well.
Mm-hmm.
Do you think that this is something that has been developing over the 10 years of the Liberal government?
Yeah, so I truly don't view this as a partisan issue at all. And as a mayor, my job is not to be partisan. My job is to represent my community and to fight for my community. And that's what I believe we're doing here today. Listen, I will tell you, in the last couple of years, we have seen, and these statistics are available at York Region's, what they call their dashboard. It's all public information. Thanks to the incredible work of our frontline officers and the investments we've made locally, we've seen certain things come down. So, for example, the number of vehicle thefts has come down this year versus last year. Great news. The number of, I believe, home break-ins has actually dropped this year versus last year. So we see some trend lines going the wrong way, we see some going the right way, but when something happens like occurred just a couple of nights ago in Kleinburg to Aleem and to his family and to the broader community, it shatters all the confidence that people have that things are getting better. So this isn't about one particular political party. This is about every level of government stepping up and realizing in each area of our respective responsibility, get the job done. So when I said earlier that at the local level we've invested, we have. York Region Council supported a York Regional Police budget increase last year that was, I think, unprecedented. Over 2 years, 2025 and projected for 26, more than 300 new staff, the lion's share of them being frontline officers, a good chunk of them coming to Vaughan. 2 new substations, including one in Kleinburg, that we helped support directly. We, at the local level, are doing everything possible. I heard Premier Ford speak about Aleem's murder just yesterday when he was speaking in Kitchener. He obviously spoke very passionately, with a great deal of emotion and care. I've yet to hear from the federal government. I said this earlier. I understand Prime Minister Carney and his caucus or his cabinet are meeting right now in the GTA. I am hoping, sincerely, today, that we hear something from them about steps they are prepared to take, working with the province, working with the municipalities, to make sure that this doesn't continue and that we never have to have another news conference like this one talking about an innocent individual killed in front of his family and taken far too soon.
Follow-up question, please.
Follow-up question, I would like to link this to foreign interference. I, as a journalist, have been threatened many times by the agents of the Islamic Republic here in Canada. Do you think there are cracks in the laws that make it easy for criminals, whether it's within Canada or from abroad, to carry on with their criminal activities?
Yes, I'm not nearly expert enough to speak about international or foreign interference. I will say, broadly speaking, in our criminal justice system, as I've already highlighted today, when you see a home invasion that ends up in a murder, by the way, 2 home invasions in the same part of our city on the same night, which YRP has also disclosed, when you see that kind of thing happening, we obviously know the system, especially when we see repeat offenders, people out on bail, people out with court conditions, going back and doing the same thing over again. Clearly there is something fundamentally broken in the system. That's what we need to fix, and we need to do it now.
Thank you.
Ask a question from Naeem, if possible.
Sure.
So, I have children of my own, and I understand how devastated they might be. But as you mentioned, your brother was a hero. He was probably a hero to his children as well. What are you hoping for his children to grow up and pass on the message to the community?
I think he would always want his children to be outstanding role models in their community. His son, I know he talked to me about his son playing professionally baseball. I know he wanted his daughter to become a businesswoman. You know, Canada avails equal rights, opportunities to everyone, and I think he wanted his children to live the Canadian dream, which I think we're in the Canadian nightmare right now.
Thank you. Up next is Sean O'Shea from Global News.
Good morning. I wanted to ask a question of Aleem's brother. You said that your brother died as a hero, defending his family. The chief of police at York Region was very careful in asking people in this community if they're involved in a home invasion to basically comply and not to defend themselves. I'd like to get your reaction to his comments, which are quite different from what the Premier of Ontario has recently said about what people might do.
Yeah, from my perspective, I think you can train yourself as much as you want, but you can't react in a moment, right? You can spend a lifetime training, but a moment is a moment. And I think any man, any father, any mother would do the same. I think they would have an instinct to protect. It's called nurturing, right? That is the very DNA of a family unit. So if you're telling someone to unwrite 3,000 years of what they're programmed to do, I don't know what to say to that. I think Aleem died a hero. He died saving his family. He saw a situation where his children, his daughters, were pointed with guns. with a gun, and it's just devastating. He woke up, and he did what any father would do, try to protect his family. So I don't know what he could have done differently. I don't know.
Can you speak to what his family members went through in witnessing what they saw?
They witnessed their father get shot, right? I think I said yesterday that my sister-in-law mentioned that her 4-year-old said, "I don't have a dad no more," and she's like, "Why are you saying that?" It's because he was shot, very point blank. This is a 4-year-old who I've always seen laughing, dancing, playing video games on my brother's phone, just being a 4-year-old, like a center of attention. And now she's just in so much pain. I can see it. I can see it in all their children's eyes. The family is shattered, right? No one wants to have these conversations. There should be no conversation like this in Canada. Like, Canadians are great people. We're great people. I don't understand what's going on.
Thank you. Up next is Dale Manustok from CBC. Please go ahead.
Yeah, for Naeem, and just to follow up on what was just asked of you, I assume, when's the last time you spoke to your sister-in-law, and how is she doing?
I was with her last night. I'm in constant contact with everyone, and she's just devastated. My brother was a father, a provider. He ran a small business, and me and her were talking about that business. And he did everything, right? He just provided for them, and like any hardworking father would do. And she doesn't know all the intricacies of his business, and it's a reality of understanding that it'll take time, and she's in a lot of pain, and we're all here to support her, and I think what she wants to see is justice, right? And she wants to make sure that there's no other Aleems. She's worried about her children, like any mother would be, right?
What more did she tell you about the 911 call? Who from the family called police, and did they respond appropriately? Did they show up in time?
So I don't know much about that part. As you can imagine, this is extremely devastating for the family. I'm not asking them to relive that moment with me. I think the police have all those records, and I think that's a question that can be asked of the chief himself.
Thank you. Up next, we have Vanessa Tiberio from Canadian Press. Please go ahead.
This is a question for the mayor. Sure. Do you have any plans to join forces with other municipalities or other leaders of municipalities? If so, what does that look like?
Yeah, so I mean, there's fairly regular contact that occurs between mayors, particularly mayors across the GTA and through what's known as the Big City Mayors Caucus. This is obviously an incident that just occurred. I have not had a conversation yet with other mayors about it, but in now nearly 3 years as mayor, this is a topic, criminal justice and law and order and safety for our communities, that comes up periodically and regularly. And I don't want to speak for the other mayors, but I think there is substantial concern and a substantial feeling that we have not gotten the job done the way that we should at all levels of government, despite the local investments that are occurring, as I've mentioned, in every region. Whether that's York or Peel or Durham or Toronto itself, everyone's trying. But I've said this before publicly, when you're investing at the local level and yet the system is still broken and things like what's happened to Aleem and his family have occurred, it's like you're fighting with one hand behind your back. So you can't really budget your way out of this. We can't put a police officer on every driveway. And I don't think that's what the people of Vaughan or the people of Canada want to see. But you need everything. You need the investments locally. You need a provincial government prepared to lead. And Premier Ford's been very clear on this. He is prepared to lead. But you need a federal government that actually has an open heart and an open mind to show real leadership. And that's what we need right now.
And like you said, 2 violent home invasions, very close proximity to each other. What do you have to say to residents who may be scared to be inside their own homes? What do you have to say to them about this?
Yeah, so that is the most challenging part of being mayor, I would say, in this particular moment. It's a feeling of powerlessness because you can give residents all of the statistics. You can tell them, like I've just told all of you, what we've invested, how many more officers have been hired, how many more substations we've opened. You can even point out that I mentioned vehicle thefts in York Region have come down substantially since last year. And then you're at the grocery store and someone comes up to you and tells you the story of how their vehicle was stolen yesterday. Their loved one had a home broken into, or, as Naeem and his family have shared with us today, what happened to Aleem. And then all the stats go out the window. And all the progress you think you've made goes out the window because it becomes a very real and very visceral conversation with a victim. And they are scared. So this is what I keep telling people at every level of government. It can't be about the stats only. People in Canada deserve to be safe, but they deserve to feel safe. And right now, sadly, very sadly, people in my community do not feel safe.